بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن استنى بسنته إلى يوم الدين. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brothers. We start by praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and we send our salam and salawat on Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Jazakallah khairan for the brothers to remind us about the beautiful hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. We're just going through the series of the short surah of the Quran, and in the series we mentioned before that the last juz, as we call the juz amma, has the surahs in a group. Sometimes there are groups in 4, sometimes there are groups in 6. These few surahs that we are doing, we did one group, the 3 groups of the surah, Surah Al-Alaq, then we did Surah Inna Anzalnahu fi Laylatul Qadr, Surah Al-Qadr, and then we did Surah Al-Bayyinah. So this surah is one chunk. Then we talked about the 4 surah in a group. One is Surah Al-Zilzal, then the surah that we did yesterday, that Surah Al-Adiyat, then this surah, Surah Qaaria, and the next surah after this in Al-Hakum Al-Takasur, the Surah Al-Takasur. These 4 are in a group. Why the Mufassirin put them in a group? I explained this before, so today we're going to talk about a little bit just to remind myself and yourself. These 4 surah, if you think about it, in Surah Al-Zilzal, إِذَا زُلْزِلَتِ الْأَرْضُ زِلْزَالَهَا, Allah talk about Akhirah. So the whole topic of the surah is Akhirah. Then the last surah, the surah after the Surah Al-Adiyat that we talked about yesterday, is about the dunya, the carefreeness, the feelings that people have, just like those riders that Allah take oath about those people, the riding the horse in a battlefield. So the people who are, innal insana li rabbihi lakanun, they have the desire in their heart for their wealth. They don't care about anything. They don't even remember the day that they're gonna be in the grave and Allah will bring them up. So one surah talked about the akhirah and the next one about the dunya. This surah again come back to the akhirah, and the surah after this again go back to the dunya. Al-Hakum Al-Takasur hatta zurtumul maqabir. So there is a nuance, there's a way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala symmetric, all these 4 surah together, that the first one match with the third one, and the second one match with the fourth one. Also the surahs which come together each after one, they also have a link. And we mentioned that in Surah Al-Bayyinah, depending on the Bayyinah, Allah divided the whole humankind, Sharrul Bariyah and Khairul Bariyah. Then we see this division when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Zilzal that فَمَنْ يَسْقَلْ مِسْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ شَرًّا يَرَى and خَيْرًا يَرَى. So one group will be the bad group, one group their deeds will be the good deeds. And then we see why this going to happen, because people they're not careful. They're not careful about their life, because they are, they have the hub, they have the love for the dunya, the love for the wealth that we found here. Also, the judgment day, if you think about the akhirah, there are few things going to happen. We have so many hadiths from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam that what's going to happen in the grave and what's going to happen after we wake up from the grave. But if you summarize the whole thing, and if you want to generalize the whole thing, you think that, first you're going to be getting out of the qabr. And that will be happening when is zulzilatil ardu zilzalaha, and people will be concerned. They will say, they will say that to the malaha, what's happening with this world, and they will be very concerned. They will be looking around as if they're, they're individual people. They are lonely. They're worried. Although on the opposite side in Adiyat, they are not worried at all. They are carefree. They are just running after their desire, running after the wealth. So one in dunya they are carefree, but on that day they will be very, very careful. That's one thing. Also, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that in Surah Al-Zilzal that the deeds will be shown. So the first thing you came out of the grave, then your deeds will be shown. The earth will, like every single deed, every zarra of deed, like every small deed, whether it's good or bad, it will be shown to you. The third thing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, whatever, not only the deed, your hussila ma fi sudur, as we talked about yesterday, even the intention in your heart. We said that amal is something that we can see. You give charity, you're praying salah, you're going to umrah, you're going to hajj, you're fasting. These are all we can see. The world will be witness for all these things. But your intention, your envy, your jealousy, whatever good or bad intention, everything is in your heart. As Allah said in Surah Al-Adiyat, وَحُسِّلَ مَا فِي الصُّدُورِ. When Allah take you out of the grave, He will also show what is in your sudur, what is in your chest. And then the third step of Jannah. So first one, your deeds will be shown. Second one, your intention will be shown. And the fourth one, in this surah Allah talking about that it will be weighed. So the mizan will be brought forth. Now you have your deeds in front of you, your intention in front of you. Allah will put them in the mizan to see which one is heavier. That's what Allah talked about in Surah Qaaria. And when it's been done, then the judgment will be happen. And before all this surah happened, twice in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and there's another surah which has the same style like Surah Al-Qariya, like Al-Qariya, Mal-Qariya, wa ma adraka mal-Qariya. Just like Al-Haqqa, Mal-Haqqa, wa ma adraka mal-Haqqa. The same style. On that surah, Surah Al-Haqqa, Allah said, وَمَنْ أُوتِيَ كِتَابُهُ بِيَمِينِي, وَكِتَابُهُ بِشِمَالِي. Allah will give him the book. So the book has your deeds, and some of us say even in the books you will see their intention also. So your deeds are there and your intention are there. And the next step is that Allah will weigh them in the mizan, in the weight machine, as Allah will brought forth in front of us, and then the judgment will happen. Then you will enter either Ishatul Radiya or Ummuhu Hamiya. Both ways. Which way you want to go, Allah will judge us, and may Allah make us, all of us, that we have the life of Ishatul Radiya, meaning we have the Jannah, inshallah ta'ala. Now let's go to the surah, and we'll very quickly go through some of the ayahs, and some of the words in this one, inshallah ta'ala. So the first ayah, Al-Qariya, Mal-Qariya, wa ma adraka mal-Qariya. This three ayah is the same thing. Whenever you say something in Arabic, al, which is the, and you don't finish the sentence, okay? So if I say, the Qaaria Hill Mosque, it's not completing the sentence. So there's something Allah open-ended, okay? And that's why Allah Himself asked the question again. And whenever you find in the Quran adraka, like inna anzalnahu fi laylatil qadr, wa ma adraka ma laylatul qadr. Whenever Allah says wa ma adraka, Allah will Himself give the answer to you. Allah is asking, do you have any clue what is this thing? Do you have any clue what is Qaaria? Do you have any clue what is Laylatul Qadr? If Allah say like this, anytime you find this, Allah will give the answer. But if you see in the Quran udrika, not adraka, then Allah will not give the answer. Udrika means you are allowed to find the answer. So it's your job to find that answer if Allah udrika. But when Allah says Oma adraka, Allah will give the answer. So the same style is Allah doing here. Allah saying, do you know a striking calamity? The Qaaria means a sound that is very disturbing. A big sound that will disturb you definitely. That will shock you. That will give you fear in your heart. And Qaaria. So Allah is asking, what is Al-Qariya? Wa ma adraka mal-Qariya. Then Allah says, Yama yakunu nasu kal farashin mabusul. So Allah saying, this is the sound where with the sound people will be gathered together. And look, this ayah, the ayah number 4, also has a link with the Surah Al-Zilzal. Allah over there, Allah says, liyuraw amalahum, and over there Allah says, iza zulzilatil ardu zilzalaha, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that the people will be spread out in that. So without the zilzal, with the earthquake, people will be spread out over the world. Here Allah said they will not be spread out, they will also spread out in a direction. How? The direction will be when people will be like a moth. The moth here, the farash. Farash is not only moth, it's some kind of bugs. When sometimes you see the bugs in the winter time, if you have the light on, all the bugs going towards the light, it's some kind of bugs like this. So people will be like this. As a shocking news, they all will be gathered. And we know from the hadith that Rasulullah said that people will be gathered in like a hashar. They will be like animals. And there are other surah in the Juz Amma, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, I will brought for everybody, even the animals, they will be gathered together on that day. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَتَكُونُ الْجِبَالُ كَإِهْنِ الْمَنْفُوسِ. So Allah saying, even not only the human being, the jibal, the mountains, they will be like like a cotton, the wool, they will be floating up in front of you. Okay. So here also Allah giving another description of the judgment day on the day that it will gonna happen when the trumpet will be blown. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking about the mizan thing. We'll come here inshallah ta'ala. فَأَمَّا مَنْ ثَقُلَتْ مَوَازِينُهُ. The same word, same root word where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala used in zilzal, misqal zarratin, siqal. The 3 word letters, siqal. Siqal means something that is heavy, something that you can weight, okay? Misqal zarratin sharra yara misqal, The same word is Allah is using here, that Allah will now going to weight that. فَأَمَّا مَنْ ثَقُلَتْ مَوَازِينُهُ. As for those whose scales are heavy with the good deeds, okay? And فَهُوَ فِي عِيشَةٍ رَاضِيَةٍ. The Isha, the word Isha means basically, it comes from, there's a Urdu and word, it's like Aish, even we use it in our Bangla, like Aish kore khachi, something like this. So it's been like you have no worries, carefree life, all worries has been taken care of. Okay. So and Radia is definitely means like we had the same word in the end of Surah Al-Bayyinah, radiyallahu anhum wa radu an. Radia means that Allah is pleased with you. So you have all the pleasures, no worries at all. So this is the life you will get, inshallah ta'ala, when you have the heavy part of your good deeds. Like your mizan is heavy on your good side, that all the deeds, all your intentions were good in this world, and Allah has scaled it in a way that you will be having the deserving that one. But for the opposite side, وَأَمَّا مَنْ خَفَّتْ مَوَازِينُهُ, but the one whose scales are light. Okay, so the scales are very light. Over there also in the same surah, the ayah before, Allah said the jibal are light, the mountains are very light, they're like cotton wool. So although they look very heavy, so some of the mufassirin said sometimes you don't know until Allah weight your good deeds, because some people, they have very very good deeds in this world. The same famous hadith of Rasulullah, Allah said, do you know, Rasulullah asked the Sahaba, do you know who is a bankrupt? So what the Sahaba said, Ya Rasulullah, we know the people who doesn't have any dirham, they are the bankrupt. Rasulullah said, no, they are not that bankrupt. The real bankrupt are those who will go with Allah, go in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with lots of good deeds. Okay, lots of prayer, lots of nafaliyah, lots of umrah, lots of hajj, lots of charity, but they did it for show off. So just like the jibal in the world, people see them, their deeds are like mountains. Oh my God, this person is giving $50,000 in the mosque. This person is doing so many things, they're praying so many prayers, so many nafal, ibadah. But they look like jibal, but the jibal is floating here. It doesn't have any value. Just like that, if the intention was not good, if it is for show off, that thing will be weigh nothing at all. So Allah is saying here, فَأَمَّا مَنْ خَفَّتْ مَوَازِينُهُ فَهُوَ فِي فَأُمُّهُ هَاوِيَةٌ. So they will be like Hawiyah means a deep valley, basically you can say. And the Ummuhu Hawiyah means like the Jahannam, that valley of Jahannam will grab you like a mother grabs you. When a mother grabs a child, there's no possibility that she will let it go. Okay, so just like that, it's Allah showing here the eternity, the strong bond of Jahannam of those people. There's no way out of this. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned in different places in the Quran that people will try to ransom themselves. They will give, Allah, I'll give all my wealth that I earn in the world. I'll give my children, okay? I'll give my spouses, my akhi, my ummihi, wa abihi, everything I will give away. But there's no way to get rid of that. Ummuhu Hawiyah. Then Allah said, وَمَا أَدْرَاكَ مَا هِيَ. Allah again asked the question, do you know what is this mahiyah? How it's going to look like? Narun Hamiyah. This is like a fire, an intensely hot fire. So Allah saying, that valley, that Ummuhu Hawiyah, what is that valley look like? It valley is this intensely fiery thing. As you all know, the description of Jahannam. So in this surah, Allah is warning us again. Like in Surah Al-Zilzal, Allah is warning us. And then the surah after that, Allah give us the reason that this is the reason you're gonna going towards this consequence, going towards this Jahannam, because you have the hope for desire. You're not worried about the day that is coming up. So inshallah ta'ala, tomorrow, or not tomorrow, inshallah, next week on Saturday, we'll try our best to do the last of this fourth surah, Al-Hakumut Takasur, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala again remind us about the wealth that we're running up, and we'll be still counting the wealth till we go to our grave. And over there Allah will say that the ni'mah, the blessing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us, as the brother mentioned here, that we are not we have don't care about those ni'mah. Allah will mention these things in Surah Al-Takasur. Inshallah ta'ala we'll finish it here. Jazakallahu khairan. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.